It is that point in the show when we get some insights on the Bears from our Bear Blitz analyst, Hub Arkush. He joins us now from Chicagoland. And Hub, the defense, boy, was magnificent Monday night, back to creating those takeaways. And Clinton Dix led the way with his 2 picks. Do the Bears potentially have another Pro Bowler on this defense with Clinton Dix?
Well, I mean, yeah, he's already been, so obviously he has that kind of ability. He had struggled a little bit the last year and a half or so. But when it comes to ball hawking safeties in the NFL, he's one of the better ones. And so, you know, Scott, it's kind of scary and even weird, but you can make an argument for at least 10 or 11 guys on that Bears defense that they have Pro Bowl ability. They're obviously not all going to be Pro Bowlers, some of them just because they won't get enough snaps. But there's no question that Clinton Dix can and is playing at that level right now.
You know, Matt Nagy had Mitch Trubisky throwing a lot of short passes early Monday, which got Trubisky's completion percentage up. What did you think of that game plan by Nagy?
Well, I thought it was an improvement. You know, I mean, they took a step forward. It wasn't the giant leap that Bears fans want to see. Matt Nagy, I think, understands what Bears fans are coming to slowly, that there's a good chance that Mitch Trubisky is never going to be in the same category as Patrick Mahomes. You know, he may not equal Deshaun Watson. They instituted a game plan against Washington that was designed to take advantage of what they know Mitch Trubisky can do. I'm not going to say it's what he does best yet, but it's what he can do so far. And it was the right plan, you know, in the right game at the right time. How that, you know, extends to Minnesota this week and the 12 that come after it, that remains to be seen. But for what they needed to do Monday night, I thought both Nagy and Trubisky did a really good job.
You just pretty much addressed my next question. You know, what should be the game plan against this Vikings defense? How in the world can the Bears offense succeed against this defense?
Well, I think it'll be very similar to what they did against Washington, with the exception of they know they've just got to run the ball better. You know, Minnesota isn't bad against the run, but they're currently 13th against the run. They're 18th in average gain allowed per run. They're not all that impressive at linebacker, especially when Anthony Barr is out. He was out last week with a groin injury. I don't know if he'll be back Sunday or not. He is a really good football player. Yes, you have to penetrate that front four, but the strength of that front four, Linval Joseph and Shamar Stephen are really good inside, but the special players on that front four are Everson Griffin on one side and Daniel Hunter on the other. Daniel Hunter is one of the best natural pass rushers in the league, but they're not particularly special against the run. So I think if the Bears can gash them a few times inside and then run a similar game plan to what they did with Washington, move the chains, convert first downs, take a pop down the field every once in a while, but you're not going to get rich doing that against the Vikings because they rush the passer so well. So, you know, I'm sure there'll be a few more gimmicks that Matt Nagy's been hiding in his bag of tricks, but as far as overall game plan, I would expect it to be pretty similar to what they did in Washington.
And the Vikings on offense were determined to run the football this season, and they have with Dalvin Cook. If you can stop Cook, though, aren't your odds of stopping the Vikings offense pretty good if you can stop Cook?
Well, they're better than pretty good. You've got the job done because he basically is the Vikings offense right now. Yes, they are very good with their starting wideouts of Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, but they really have no depth behind them. At tight end, Kyle Rudolph is a great red zone weapon, but he's become pretty much a post-up player for short yardage and possession situations. They drafted Irv Smith high. He has not arrived yet. He was better last week against Oakland than he was in the first 2 weeks. But that's pretty much it. You take Dalvin Cook away, you're going to paralyze that offense. And then you get to the fact that while Kirk Cousins can put up huge numbers against mediocre teams and average to poor defenses, he has basically failed every time he's had to play a big game like this before. So, you know, you'd think eventually he's going to break through, but is there any reason to think it's going to be Sunday against the Bears? Dalvin Cook should scare you. He may be the best running back in football right now. He's the leading running back in both rushing and combined yardage from scrimmage, but they don't seem able to match the passing game up with it. And name me the last team that beat the Chicago Bears just running the football. Going back to week 1 of 2018, they're the #1 run defense in the NFL. So, you know, it's a tough matchup, but I think you have to make the argument that the matchup ever so slightly favors the Bears.
Well, it's just the Bears' luck. They finally seemingly have a kicker they can count on in Eddie Pinheiro, and then he comes up with his pinched nerve in his knee. Matt Nagy he's not sounding any alarms right now, but this has to be a major concern, doesn't it?
I don't think so. Matt was actually kind of laughing it off a little bit on Tuesday at Hallis Hall. You have to admit, when's the last time you heard about a pinched nerve in a knee? I didn't know that there was such an injury. You usually are thinking about, ligaments and cartilage, and I'm not disputing that that's what's wrong with them. I don't think they're terribly concerned about it right now. Their understanding from their medical people, as they've explained it to us, is it's not the kind of injury that they risk making worse by allowing them to play through it.
All right. Well, let's hope that's the case. Thank you, Hub. We'll check in with you again next week.
All right. Take care, Scott.
And a reminder, you can catch Hub right here every week. You can also hear him on the Bears pregame and postgame shows on Sports Radio 670 The Score in Chicago. And Hub is the executive editor of Pro Football Weekly and ProFootballWeekly.com, where you can find not only lots of information on the Bears, but information from all around the NFL. Up next, we'll have our predictions for this week's action in the NFC North. As we head to the break, here is our Bear Blitz trivia question. Taylor Gabriel caught 3 touchdown passes in the first half Monday night. Who is the only other Bears receiver ever to have 3 touchdown catches in the first half of a game? The answer after the break.